Hi Shai, hopefully this video will help you figure out how to find slope and just some of the things we've done in this unit. So what I've got for you here is just a couple things to show you how to find slope and how to write the formula so that's y equals mx plus b, and then how to graph it using like y-intercept and slope, and hopefully this makes it a little bit easier. Okay, the first thing we did, and I'm not sure if you have this review or not, and if not I can email it to you. What we did is we try to find the slope by looking at 2 points. And if I connected these points with a line, I'll try my best to draw this line, we have this line that connects these 2 points. And what we're trying to find is how steep is this line. Like if I drew a line flat, like that, the slope would be 0 because it's not going up or down, it's just a flat line. Now this thing is a line and it's going upwards, so it has a slope, and the question is how big is the slope? And here's how you find slope. The formula that we learned in the class was slope equals the change in y over the change in x, which just means you just take your 2 y points and subtract them, and take your 2 x points and subtract them. And then you'll get this little fraction as your answer. So the first thing I have to do is figure out what is the coordinates of C and D. And the way it works is you always start from the middle, and that's what you call your origin, and you count how many squares you move over left and right. And the way it works is that you'll have to write your coordinates with the x first, which is your left right, and then your y, which is your up down. So you can think of x as moving this way, and your y is moving that way. So I have to label what each of them are. So for this one, for C, I start here and I have to move over 1 to the left. So I call that -1. So for C, it's -1. And then I figure out how many I would have to go up or down to get to point C. Well, I have to go down 1, 2, 3, so I would get -3. So that's the coordinates for C, and for D, it would be 1, 2 over, so +2, and then you have to go up to 1, 2, so you would get 2. And remember, these are your x's and these are your y's, so all you're doing is trying to find the difference between those two and then the difference between those two. So I'm going to do exactly what I show here. I'm going to go -3, -2, and on the bottom, because that's my y's, because we have to do the y's on top, and then I go -1, -2, because those are my x's. And then I get -5 over -3. And we should always cancel negatives where we can, so this would just turn into 5 over 3, and that's your slope. And another way to think about slope is like this. If I started at a point C, I would have to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like here, and then over 3, 1, 2, 3. So the slope tells you where to draw the next point. And if I did this again, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, the next point would go there, and then I can keep drawing my lines. So slope works by looking at your y's and x's. The next thing we learned was that y equals mx plus b. And it's just a format that is written to be able to help you draw a graph. This is the slope, and this tells you where it crosses the y-axis. So what I mean by that, it's called the y-intercept. What I mean by that is this. If you took a look at this red graph, or this red line I drew here, let me just change color. I'll go to like a blue. The y-intercept would be about, well, wrong color. There we go. The y-intercept would be about right there, because this is where the line crosses the y-axis, and the y-axis is the up and down line. Whoa, that's not straight, but you get the idea of what I'm trying to mean here. So we call this up and down line the y-axis, and wherever that line crosses, that tells you where to put a dot. And so that's what we're going to need when we draw a line. So sometimes we are not given dots. All we're given is y equals mx plus b, and then we're expected to draw a graph. So all you do is you have to rewrite the formula so that you get y by itself. And the way I taught this was to move anything in algebra, you always do the opposite. So I want the y by itself, but I don't want this plus 2 or minus 2. So the rule of algebra is if you don't want something, do the opposite to it. So what you do is it's minus 2, so I'll just add 2, and I do the same thing to the other side. So I'll show the work here. Now you'll get 8x plus 18, and on the other side you're just left with 3y. And so what you're trying to do is move everything away from the y so that you get y by itself like this. And it doesn't matter which side the y is on as long as it's by itself. So the last thing to do here would be, I don't want this 3, so I'll just rewrite this. And I don't want this 3. How do I get rid of the 3? Well, always do the opposite of what it's doing. The 3 is timesing the y, so to get rid of it, divide by 3, and do that to the other side. And since there's two things there, you'll have to divide all of them by 3. So your answer here would be 8 over 3x. That turns into 6, and that becomes y. So if you wrote it as y equals mx plus b, you would say y equals 8 over 3x plus 6. So the m is that, and the b is 6. Okay, now the last thing. This will maybe make a little bit more sense to you. Sometimes they don't write it as y equals mx plus b. They use letters. So if I rewrote this so that the one without any letters is always last, you could rewrite it like that. It's just another way of saying y equals mx plus b. So you could really rewrite this as y equals 3x plus 4. But in this case, what they've done is they've just changed the letter x to the letter n and the letter y to the letter c. But it doesn't matter. If you like this better, then just use that form. Now the neat thing about this is once you have something like y equals mx plus b, you know that the slope is 3, because that's this, and you know the y-intercept is 4. So that tells you enough information of what to do. And your slope should always be written in like a fraction. So you write it as 3 over 1, because 3 and 3 over 1 are the same thing. But the reason why is this will tell you your up, down, and this will tell you your left, right. So you need both to be able to draw it. Now what the b tells you is on the y-axis, which is this up and down line, where does it cross? Well, it crosses at 4. So you always start from here and you go, okay, my first dot is going to be, whoa, what happened there? Sorry about that. There we go. Your first dot is going to be 4. So it's telling you it's crossing at 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first dot in your graph is there. And then what it tells you is it says your slope is 3 over 1. So now you know this is your start point, and that's why you need the b. And the slope allows you to draw a second point. So it says 3 up and 1 to the right. So you go, okay, 1, 2, 3, and then 1 to the right. And there you go. There's your second point. And then all you would do is just draw a straight line, and you're done. So I hope that makes a little bit more sense. You might have to watch this over a couple times just to kind of see where I solve some of the questions. Now, if you get stuck with some of the algebra questions, I know on the review that I think you might have, there's some fractional questions to solve for y. I won't be asking those. I'll just be asking ones more like this. So if you have troubles with that, maybe just email me some more questions about that if you have any, and I can send you some more examples.